Welcome to the podcast. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Clem, and this is Turns Out We're Gay.
Oh my gosh, we're back.
We're back again.
Again?
You can't get rid of us.
Season 3.
Season 3, that's crazy.
I know, it's wild that we have been going on since when, like 5 months ago, and we're already on season 3.
Yeah, who knows? Not me.
No, you just live week in and week out
I'm
editing.
not good with dates. It's all a blur.
For those who don't know, Clem can't remember my birthday to save her life.
17th of May. June.
That's not my birthday.
July. Shit.
Wow. Oh my God. Okay. Welcome back. We've been gone a little bit longer than our last break, but I think we needed it.
Yeah, look, season 2 was massive and we had so much fun, but it did definitely take it out of us. We do all of this on ourselves. We put in all of the work behind the scenes, the editing, the social media management, all of that sort of stuff. Everything is ourselves.
Yeah.
And it definitely takes its toll, but it's worth it and we love it. So we just gave ourselves a little bit of grace. We've also had a lot of really exciting things in the pipeline, which we'll talk about later in the episode, but we needed a bit of extra time for that stuff as well.
I think also there's a lot of creativity that goes into the podcast, and you have to be constantly coming up with new topics, new suggestions to bring to the table. So taking this break, for the first week, we had a lot going on that had nothing to do with the podcast.
Yeah.
And then we kind of sat down, not in a pool this time, which is where all of our meetings happen.
Yeah. Although I feel like we kind of had our framework for season 3 done in the pool in Bali.
Yeah, true.
But we did definitely tweak it here.
Yeah, and we sat down and really talked about how we can go bigger, better, more fun. So we're excited for all of our little segments coming up soon. But yeah, so super excited for season 3, and we're sorry you had to go 3 weeks without us. But
I think it was 4 weeks.
oh my
Who
goodness,
knows?
who knows? But we're back, and we're excited to be back.
Just to give you a bit of an idea of what today's episode is going to look like, we're going to do a wrap up of season 2. We're going to talk about the things that we really loved about it and things we took out of it. We're then going to talk a bit about what we've been doing in this huge break we've taken, which it's not really a huge break, I think, in the concept of people that do this, but we're back. And yeah, so we've got to talk about what we've been doing in that break to prepare for this next season and everything else that's to come up. We have some things to announce, some other projects and things like that we've been working on. And yeah, just talk about what's happening this season.
Yeah. So why don't we do a bit of a wrap up of season 2, because it was chaotic. I don't know if you guys realized we filmed some of that in Bali and then flew back to Australia and then took on a huge project, which you'll learn about in just a minute. But we took that on in the middle of season 2.
Yep.
So we were doing that day in and day out, and then Clem was also editing. And then we went on a bit of a guest tour and we caught up with all of our incredible guests. And we've actually filmed some of our guests that are coming into this season during that tour. So we did all of that, came back all during season 2. And I know that sounds like, oh, lots of fun, but it's actually quite chaotic and really full on. And I think that's why it really burnt us out. But I'm so glad we did it, because we met some amazing people. We met Lexi, Milo, Taz and Alessia, people that we just never even thought that the podcast would get to a point that we're having conversations with these people, but they were all so amazing. And we tackled the mental health episode, which I think is something that I'm really proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was something that was really important to us and has been really helpful and well received with the audience, and we're really appreciative of all the lovely messages. And honestly, the messages really do change the game for us. It's why we do it, to hear that it's actually helping people like we intended for the podcast to do. So yeah, that was a massive milestone for us, was to sort of open up about our stories and our mental health journeys and things like that. And you touched on it as well. We met some incredible guests and had amazing times with them. You know, every single one of them we ended up chatting to for about half an hour, if not more, with a couple of drinks after, you know, the episode, and felt like we made friends that we'll catch up at, you know, Mardi Gras and all these sorts of things. And I love that. And I love the community that we're in, and that you're able to make such amazing connections and things like that. And just share experiences and that you can relate to that maybe people that aren't in the community can't. So That was a massive milestone. We also introduced Kendall.
Yes, I was just about to say
Yeah.
we caught up with Kendall, and I feel like Kendall has become just like one of our really good friends now, and she's amazing, and we're so excited to see what Kendall brings to the podcast as well.
Yeah, exactly. And she'll be back this season and plenty more laughs, and hopefully Sarah can rein it in on some of her raunchy conversations with her. But
I took porn a little too far, but she loved it.
oh, she was here for it. She didn't bat an eyelid, which I think was amazing.
Kendall's episode is one of our faves.
Yeah.
So you guys loved it too, don't lie.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it.
Sneaky.
And that's the thing, and that's what we want to do is put out this content that you guys want to hear and you relate to, covering topics that might be uncomfortable for other people to cover and things like that, but we're happy to do it, and we have a lot of fun with it. So it was a huge season in the sense of introducing all of those guests and Kendall, and talk about some really hectic stuff as well.
Yeah, I feel like we covered a lot of different topics, and we had some heavier conversations in the last season, and that was hard and I think a little bit triggering for both of us, but I'm so proud of us for doing it. And I'm just so excited for season 3, and we'll talk a little bit about what to expect soon. But we also hit a huge milestone last week, 20,000 downloads of the podcast, which is like, it's wild. Like 20,000 times our podcast has been listened to, and some episodes have been listened to like 3,000 times. I'm the analytic person behind the podcast, reading all the data because I'm a nerd, and I love it. And I'm loving seeing which topics you guys are liking the most. And all those types of things. So it's just been amazing. But 20,000 downloads is incredible. And yeah, we appreciate you all so much.
Yeah, we're really proud of that milestone, and it might not seem like much to other people, but for us it's huge. Like we said, we never had the intention of this being listened to by many people. Like we just thought, honestly, if we help a couple of people out here and there and share our story and things like that, that's all that matters. But the fact that, it's had 20,000 downloads, it's blown our minds, and we're really grateful, and it's been life-changing 100%.
It has been. We had also a partnership with Hinge, which was really cool, and that's actually led to us having partnerships that you guys might not see in the front end, but in that back end, they have been incredible partnerships that have it's going to shape the way that this podcast is going to go in terms of who we get to speak to and those types of things, which is really cool. But it has been life-changing, and it's definitely challenged us in our normal lives. Also, before we jump into season 3, you actually had someone recognize you. Let's talk about that.
I was literally just thinking I want to actually bring this up, but this was, I don't even know how to put it into words, but it was such an amazing moment. I was just at the shops doing, I'm going to say groceries, but it wasn't. I was probably at Kmart spending money that I shouldn't have.
No, you were at the $2 store.
No, I know I was there after, but I just meant I was originally at the shopping centre for
I was going to call you out for falling down the shelf, but
I didn't fall down a shelf. A shelf fell down. If I fell down a shelf, I'd be really concerned. A, why was I on a shelf? B, what kind of shelf would hold my weight? Or what kind of illusion was I under that any shelf would hold my weight?
Oh my God.
Anyway, so your call out went wrong.
I'm wrong. I'm incorrect. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, so I was at just like a $2 shop kind of thing, and being my awkward self, knocked a shelf and causing chaos and things like that, and apologising to the staff and whatnot. And I don't know if anyone else gets like that, but with social anxiety, these moments seem like chaotic, and like I was bright red and I was just like, oh my God, I just want to die. I want to get out of here, put my stuff through the counter and whatever, and put my stuff at the counter. And there was a lovely young girl there, I don't know, like mid-20s or whatever. And she was like, I have a really weird question to ask you. Can I ask you a really weird question? And my brain being the way it is, I'm like, yes, I knocked the shelf down. I didn't mean to. I'd like to not bring any more attention to it. I'm just thinking, what's this strange question? And she goes, do you have a podcast? And I was like, wow. And I don't know, like I probably should have thought when she said I have a strange question or whatever, it should have clicked, but I honestly had no idea what was about to come out of her mouth. She was like, do you have a podcast? And I was like, oh, yeah, I do. Like, kind of like, And then she was like, what's it called? And I was like, oh, TOWG. She's like, I knew it. And she said that her and her partner listen to it all the time, and they're not from Australia originally, and they both come from different cultures and different heritages, and struggle with their family accepting them and things like that, and that they both listen every week to our episodes and they love it, and it's been really helpful for them in their journey and going through what they're going through. And I almost was in tears, and I said, you're going to make me cry. I was like, that's so incredible. I said, we put a lot of work into it, so it makes it worth it to hear this sort of stuff. And she was like, we can tell you put a lot of work into it. And I wasn't sure if I should have said anything. I was going to message the page the other day and write it all, but I didn't. And then I saw you and thought I have to. And I was like, oh my God, please message the page. And I'm so glad you said something. And this has been the most surreal moment of my life, pretty much. So yeah, it was incredible, and it was heartwarming, and it was extremely motivating because our stuff is really helping people. And even when we're not talking about exact issues that they're facing, they're able to take the pieces they need to help them in their journey in their own way. And if they are listening still to this episode, I'd like them to actually message the page so we can reconnect, because it had a really big impact on me.
Yeah. And I got a call from Clem being like, oh my God, you won't believe what happened. And I could hear it in her voice. She was like shaking with excitement, but also that morning, I think we'd had a conversation about like how hard this is. And we love you guys. So don't take this conversation as us being like, oh, we're going to stop. No, we're not. We love it. We're going to keep going. But there are moments where we're like, fuck, this is hard. Like there is so much that goes into this. And I think that morning we're both like just feeling a bit tired and a bit like, oh, this is hard work. And so that really put like a kick in your step. And that's what every single message does to us. 100%. Every time we get a message, I usually am the one that you're talking to most of the time. And then Clem will jump in. So if you see two messages going at the same time, it's because we're both in there because we're so excited. But what will happen is we'll get this message and I'll be like, it will literally stop me in my tracks. And I'll message Clem and be like, oh my God, did you just see the message in the inbox? And it literally just changes us, and it like really pushes us to want to keep going and to want to do more. So if you do feel the urge to message us, don't just randomly do it because I've told you to now, but like if you do feel this urge to do it, please do. Don't like stop yourself from doing it. I know sometimes it might feel weird to like message strangers because we are strangers, but please do it because it definitely makes us feel really good about continuing what we're trying to do. And also if you see us out in a non-creepy way, come and talk to us, please. Like don't feel weird about it if you happen to see us out and about. If I look homeless, maybe not that day, but any other day, please do. But yeah, so I thought that was a really cool experience that you had.
It was obviously meant to happen, and I'm someone that believes in those sorts of things, that things are meant to happen the way they do. And yeah, it changed a lot of my mentality about things, and it was really a really nice moment.
So thank you everyone that gave us support. We got a lot of support in this season. And season 3, let's talk about season 3 because we have been talking about season 3 for weeks, and we have, I think, changed the episode plan about 1,700 times.
Yep.
But we also wanted to really challenge ourselves to go outside of our comfort zone. I think we did that last season a little bit. We want to go even bigger. And it's not necessarily about having like massive people on our podcast or anything, but it's about challenging the conversations that we're having.
Yeah.
So what's up for season 3?
Like we've kind of touched on, we've had some really big conversations and really intense conversations. So we definitely want to lighten that up, and we're going to try and throw in a couple of like fun episodes and a bit more get to know us kind of thing, and a bit quirky, a bit fun, question each other, kind of put each other on the spot and show you guys quite rawly, us having conversation about topics we might find uncomfortable or whatnot, but also have a laugh with a lot of these sorts of things as well, which is definitely going to be a lot of fun. But as well as that, we are trying to broaden the conversation further than just what we know and what we're used to. And we have some really interesting and important conversations about gender in multiple different ways. As usual, we're going to have AFAB queer people coming on board and having conversations, but we're also going to venture out of that. We're going to have non-binary, we're going to have queer men, we're going to have as much as we can to really broaden the conversations and bring different perspectives and different stories and different conversations that we can't talk from our own experience. So that's been really important for us, and we're finally doing it and stepping outside the comfort zone that we've been in. And yeah, we're really excited. And there's some really cool guests coming on.
They're so cool, and I'm so excited to chat with them, and I think just get a different perspective, because obviously we have our own, queer experience, but I think queerness is diverse and can be experienced in all different ways. So I'm super excited for them to come on. We also, like we said before, have Kendall coming back to talk about a couple of different topics. Really excited for her to come back. And
I think everyone loves Kendall's episodes.
everyone loves Kendall's episodes, but she's super fun. She's super raw, super real. If you haven't listened to her episode before, go listen to it. There is a bit of a shock factor at the start where I just scream out, let's talk about porn. But once you get past that, it's a great episode. We're also going to talk about exes and relationships with exes and a few other hairy topics. We decided this season that we were going to, I guess, show you guys, like Clem said before, show you guys how we navigate a tricky conversation. And so some of these episodes might not even be planned. We're just going to jump into them with some hairy questions and you guys get to see a different side of us and how we communicate, because that's super important. But yeah, so the lineup of guests that we have, my gosh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be big.
So good. Yeah.
And one of the most exciting things to come with this season is that we have a new space to bring these guests to and to record the episodes in, which also ties into what we've been spending our break doing.
Yeah.
So we had been in Bali and we had plans to go back to Bali long term, go move over there 6 months, whatnot. We had a house lined up. We had everything sort of sorted out. And then as we touched on with Taz and Alessia, we connected with multiple different amazing people for season 2, but also coming up in season 3. And it kind of changed the game for us, because we thought if we can bring people like this on and we can really open up the doors to people getting this content, or an Australian queer community, we really need to be living in Australia. So we made the decision to move back to Sydney. I'm originally from Sydney. My family's in Sydney. And if anyone knows me, I am a sucker for being an auntie. And there's more little babies on their way at the end of the year. So plenty of babysitting to be had and things like that. So Sydney was where we ended up deciding that that's where we would set up base for personal and professional reasons. But yeah, so what do we do?
Well, let's take it back to the pool conversation in Bali. We were talking about what is the vision of the podcast. And I swear this won't take too long until I actually tell you what we're doing. But it's important because the podcast for us it's long form content. It's listening to us talk about experiences, a whole topic. We try and cover as much as we can in, sort of half an hour to an hour, depending. And we were kind of feeling like we wanted to create something that was bigger than that. We want something that's bigger than us. And you guys see us in the camera and like, this is really who we are, but we aren't the entire queer community. Like there's so many more people out there. There's so many more stories to tell. And yes, we can bring amazing people onto the podcast, and we do, and we talk about really important topics. But I think there can be more to be done. So we have created a whole other project for us, which is so exciting. And we are going to be launching, what would you call it? I'd call it a production business. What would you call it?
A media production.
Media production.
I'm going to call it a queer-focused media production company business.
So you would have seen on Instagram that we put up a story saying go follow BTQ coming soon.
Yep.
So BTQ, we're so excited to say that BTQ stands for Behind the Queer, which is our new production company. We have been working on this for months, but I actually feel like, Clem, you've been working on this for years. This has been like your entire purpose when it came to production and media. For those who don't know, Clem has a huge background in that space. And this has been something that's been incredibly important to you. And we had this conversation in the pool, as we always do, about how can we create something that's not Clem and Sarah. It's something that's queer and it's got nothing to do with us. And you probably won't even see us in it that much, to be honest. But how can we bring something to people that is queer focused, that is fun, that is fresh and, I want to say young, but I don't mean that by age. I mean that by like young and hot and sexy and like just fun stuff and fun queer content. And yeah, this has been really important to you.
Yeah, it's funny that you say it like that, because that is how I feel. It literally feels like it's been years and years on end coming to fruition. And it's been something I've been really excited about and thought about in all my lines of work. It's been a long time coming, and it's something that I've thought about with every job that I've had, and I've tried to sort of almost create my own job role within my jobs in the past where I'm trying to do this content more and more and things like that. But I love to tell stories through visual media, film, audio, whatever, photography. And I've never been one that's been bothered by being the person in front of the camera. I've never been one that's been bothered by being behind a mic or anything like that. So people probably laugh and say, oh, everyone says that when we say we didn't do this podcast to be anyone known. But it's 100% the truth, because I want to tell everybody's story.
Yeah.
And the queer community, once I came out and figured out myself, it was my home, and I found my home. And it's something that I want to be able to help other people feel. And by getting more representation and more content out there, I feel like that's the best way I can contribute to the community and to helping people and things like that. So, yeah, Behind the Queer is going to be a lot of really cool content and a lot of really eye-opening content, a lot of different people, different stories, and a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
So much fun. I feel like it's been a lot of fun, the creative side of planning Behind the Queer, to go through different segments and different topics and what's that going to look like and who can we have involved in that. And we love so far the people that we've asked, 95% of people have been on board with it. And I do think that comes from them seeing what we've done here and being really proud of what we've done here and knowing that we're not going to create something that's not going to be half done. There's a lot of work that has gone into Behind the Queer, including our beautiful brand new studio that Clem has. I'm going to say Clem because yes, I have helped very minute because I have another business. So I've been doing that during the day, but Clem has been on her hands and knees with grinders and chopping wood and all this stuff. The flooring, let's not even get started on the flooring. We nearly ended our relationship over that. It has been a full-on, since probably June, we have been in construction. I think all of our friends are sick and tired of hearing us say we're under construction because we have been. But we've finally finished the studio and we're so excited. It's such a cute, queer space. We've got our new neon light and we're so excited to bring people here, not just for the podcast, but for Behind the Queer and for you guys to be immersed in the queer experience that we're hoping to bring. But Behind the Queer, like Clem said, is for everyone. It's not just for the people coming on the podcast. If you come on, it's for literally everyone, every person, every queer person that we see out and about. It's, a lot of the time it's just people like you that are listening that are going to come on and just have fun with it. And so we'll talk a little bit more about if you are interested in coming on Behind the Queer. We're hoping soon we're going to be able to communicate more around how to go about that and how to apply to come on because, there are some segments that are going to be best suited for some and not others.
Yep.
But we are just working through all of that at the moment. But Behind the Queer hasn't launched yet. We're telling you guys about it, but it should be launched, I'm thinking October, November.
Yeah,
maybe sooner.
It'll launch within the next couple of months, somewhere in there. The first run of filming should start this week, and I'm in the middle of, organising all of that. And it's funny because obviously all of this sort of stuff, we do it together, and it turns out We're Gay's definitely been very much a 50-50 split of really coming up with ideas and getting guests and editing and all of that. We've really both taken on so much weight on ourselves. Behind the Queer is absolutely still our project, but it's just crazy to sort of have something that I've had in my head and be able to finally sort of put it in action and sort of take a bit of the weight off your shoulders in a sense. If you do want to get involved, you'll probably mainly be dealing with me. I'm sorry. Sarah won't be as involved, but will still definitely be around. And it's been a crazy journey, but like Sarah said, we got a rundown little shed and we have completely revamped it and made it our own and done repairs. I've finally been able to put all that tradie thirst traps to good and use the tools and things like that and actually create something, which has been really cool. But yeah, like Sarah said, this is going to be for everyone. So we definitely want to get everyone on board and we're going to get some forms and applications and things like that to you guys so that you guys can jump on board if you're keen and come tell your story, come have a bit of fun. And also hopefully just give you heaps more content for you guys to binge watch on YouTube and, get familiar with other people because I'm sure they're bored of us by now.
Yeah, I would say so. But what does that mean in terms of how things might change? So the only thing that's changing is Turns Out We're Gay will be a BTQ production. So we will still be doing the podcast every single week, like we said, in seasons. That's not changing. We are hoping that by doing this, we might actually be able to put a lot more creativity into TOWG, but it will become a BTQ production. What that means is that our YouTube, if you're following YouTube, that might change to BTQ.
Yep.
And then BTQ has a totally different Instagram and will have a totally different TikTok. So within YouTube, make sure you're following along because it will now be BTQ, but Turns Out We're Gay will remain the same and you'll still get the same content. If you don't want to follow BTQ, that's fine, but we would love the support and backing from our incredible listeners of TOWG because we think that if you like what we're doing here, you're going to absolutely love what we're doing over there.
Yeah,
or what
absolutely.
Clem's doing over there. I'm really proud of you for putting this all together and I think you guys are going to be so impressed with Clem's work. She's so talented. I know that this is 50-50, but what you guys see in your phones and on your laptops or however you're watching us is all Clem. And she's so talented and we get so many compliments of her editing and all those things. So you're going to absolutely love it. So make sure you're following along and we'll communicate soon about how to get on board with it.
Thank you. That was very sweet.
That's Behind the Queer. So excited. It's hard not to talk about that for 500 years. So this one's a short one because this is really just an intro. Welcome back. Hope you're all well. Miss you all. Love you all. And we can't wait for you to come along with us and we can't wait for you to hear what we've got coming up for season 3.
Yeah, no, a quick one today. Just wanted to keep you guys updated on what's been happening. We've been really quiet as well in the break because we have been heavily in construction and planning and trying to breathe when we had a chance to switch off for a second. So we're back. Season 3 is up and running. TOWG isn't going anywhere. BTQ is about to be launched and we're super excited about it. And if you see us, maybe just say we're proud of you because we'll probably be dead.
We're going to be very tired, particularly Clem. But make sure you boost us up with a little comment. I do just want to say that I know we've had lots and lots of messages coming through about tackling the religious episode. I just want to let you guys know because we've had so many messages about it. I don't want you guys thinking that we're not taking it seriously. The reason why you haven't had the episode is because we're taking it seriously.
Yeah.
We absolutely want to tackle it. We would love to sit down with somebody who has had positive or negative experience queer in religion and how they handled that and what are some of the tools that they could offer other people. But the challenge is that we just need to find that person. So it's absolutely on the radar. I appreciate all of your messages. But as soon as we find the right person to talk to about that, we will make the episode. We will have the conversation. We'll ask all the curly questions, but that is something that you're going to notice with TOWG is that Clem and I find it's really important to us that we don't tackle a topic that we have no exposure or experience in.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that we haven't had exposure to religion and being queer, but we haven't had the hurdles that you guys are often talking about in those questions.
Yeah.
So we just want to make sure that we have not only someone that's been through that, but also we'd love to be able to represent multiple different religions.
Yes.
Because for us, it's very important that we are super inclusive and not solely focused on one. So we are definitely working on it. We're hearing you guys and we are very heavily guided by you guys as the listeners on what you guys want to hear. So it's definitely something we're in the works with. If you guys know of anyone or you follow anyone that you think would be awesome to have on the potty to talk about it, let us know. It's definitely on our radar and we hear you.
Yeah, we're really hopeful that episode will happen soon. It may not happen this season, but just bear in mind that we are doing everything we can to try and find the right person to talk to about it. But I thought it was important to put that in this episode because it's probably been our most requested episode recently. And I just don't want to keep going back to everyone going, thanks for trying. Like I want you guys to kind of see us talking about it. Like we do. It's so important and we want to make sure we get it right. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, welcome back.
Yeah.
I know I woke up to you this morning, but welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. Welcome back to you as well.
And yeah, we hope you are all just as excited as us, and make sure you're following all of our socials. And if you're not, why not? Also make sure you're following our personal pages. We're also really mindful that we've pretty much gone MIA on that.
Yeah.
And so a lot more personal content's going to be coming out, so you guys get to know us individually a bit more. But yeah, make sure you're following TikTok, YouTube, subscribe. All right. On that note,
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Love you. Bye.